All righty, you are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Minnesota Vikings. Why the Minnesota Vikings 0-16? Because they suck. They've been to 4 Super Bowls and they got smoked all 4 times in the Super Bowl. Minnesota you suck. And they ain't been to the Super Bowl since after the 76 season when the Raiders just blew the doors off them 32-14. Minnesota, you suck. Oh, man, that stuff never gets old. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all? My good boy. He's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening. I greatly appreciate it. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away. Throw in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box. Yeah, it can be 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. But Buzz also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free. Fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, unfortunately. The second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third one is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. And maybe give this video a thumbs up or share it. That'd be freaking awesome. And then finally, also, just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. I'm one of those guys. I hate change. Like, everything's just the way it is. I'm like one of those, get off my lawn, kind of old-time farts, right? The link, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me. It'll always be Twitter to me. It'll never change. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants you to call it, that's on you, bro. I ain't calling it that. I'm calling it Twitter. Nah. It's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I usually try to put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. And then finally, the link on top of it. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's very original, I know, because basically it was the the same name as my YouTube channel. It's the only thing I can think of to call it at the time. So it's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. We have over 8,200 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well, too. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group, darn near 365. Right? It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. With all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, yeah, I guess, I mean, people wanted the Giants to draft a quarterback. People wanted the Giants to do a lot of things in the draft. People wanted the Giants to, obviously jump up and get Drake May. Yeah, you have no idea. You don't know. Never will know. Never going to find out how serious the Giants were about maybe jumping up to get May, or how serious the Patriots were as far as, maybe trading out of that spot, or. But I mean, I'll tell you what, got to give people a lot of credit. A lot of credit. The draft gurus and all that. I mean, everybody seemed to have Caleb Williams number one, but a lot of people seem to think Jaden Daniels was going number two to those Commanders, and how right they were. So I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, right? If the Giants were to draft everybody, if the Giants got every one of the players in this draft class, there'd be people out there to complain. Guaranteed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they did, what they didn't do. Like I said, if the Giants somehow got every player, if the Giants got Caleb Williams and their backup was Jaden Daniels and Drake May, and if they're three wide receiver, right? Could you imagine that? Brock Bowers as your tight end, and then at Marvin Harrison Jr., right? And Neighbors and Dunzia with your three wide outs. Could you imagine that? There'd be people out there in Giant land that'd be pissed off. Just straight up unbelievable, just beside themselves, all pissed off. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do or didn't do. There's going to be people out there complaining, whining and moaning and groaning about something because that's all they know how to do. They wanted the Giants to draft a quarterback, and I can certainly understand it. Absolutely, because if you really look at it, and I understand, so some people kind of have their some, if you want to say, not Phil Simms comparisons, how Daniel Jones is as a quarterback and how Phil Simms are as a quarterback. I'm not saying that. I'm saying how their careers, right? How Phil Simms, basically 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. Injuries. Scott Bruner was, at times was put in front of him, right? Was the starter. And Phil Simms was maybe on the bench and stuff like that, So finally in his sixth season, Phil Simms kind of blossomed, and took the Giants to the playoffs. And, we beat the Rams. And then the following week, we lost, 21-10 to the 49ers. The offense couldn't score. We scored 3 points. I mean, obviously, because in the playoff loss to the 49ers in 84, the only touchdown we had was a Harry Carson picked off Joe Montana, ran it back into the end zone for a touchdown. But I mean, a lot of people are doing some of that comparison. The Phil Simms, he's his first 5 seasons he was injured and this, that, and, So now we're entering, if that was Phil Simms' 6th season, was 84. Well, we're going to Daniel Jones' 6th season here and all. But, I also say, you can say all the comparisons you want and this, that, and the other thing. But, when Phil Simms was doing his thing in 84, taking the Giants to the playoffs, and even when we were going to the Super Bowl in 86, 90, we started the season off 10-0, right, in 1990. He had on the sideline or however you want, the players and on the sideline, he had 3 of the greatest all time. Right? He had, on that team, he had Lawrence Taylor, the greatest defensive player of all time. End of story. Bar none. Period. Right? That's it. I don't see no Lawrence Taylor on it. I mean, we got some good guys, sure, but there's no Lawrence Taylor. Right? And I said, then you couple Lawrence Taylor up like in 86 with, Banks and Carsons, right? And all, so we had, but I mean, we had Lawrence Taylor. Okay. Then also Phil Simms, right? Had the 2 Bs, Bill and Bill, right? You can argue one of those is the greatest of all time, and the other one could be whatever you want to put them, top 10, 15, 20, as far as a coach. I mean, Bill Parcells, right? Took 4 different teams to the playoffs. I don't know if any other coach has done that. Maybe one other coach has. He took 2 teams to Super Bowls, right? Took 3 different teams to championship games. Pretty darn impressive. Okay, pretty impressive. And he did that in a very short period of time. Not so much with the Giants, it was 83, 84, 85, 4 years he's had the Giants in the Super Bowl. But I mean, with the Patriots, didn't take them that long to bring them to the Super Bowl. I had the Jets in a championship game. They were actually beating the Broncos in the championship game in Denver. It was 10-9 at halftime. Of course, the Jets unfortunately couldn't score a point in the second half, and the Broncos wound up winning 23-10. But Bill Parcells, unbelievable coach. But then I said, also we have Bill Belichick on the sidelines. Now you can call him, if you don't want to call him the greatest coach of all time, I can understand that, because now you notice that once Brady was gone, he kind of struggled a little bit, right? Yeah, but if you put Belichick, and he's got to be in the top, whatever. I don't know if you want to go 5 coaches of all time. He certainly has a lot of jewelry on his fingers, right? Okay. I don't know what was it, 6 Super Bowls he's got as the coach and then he's got 2 with the Giants, so he's got 8 Super Bowl rings. He even has more rings than Tom Brady does. So so he's pretty good. So Phil Simms had a little bit of benefit of some of the he had some good guys on the side. I'm not ready to call Brian Dable Bill Parcells, right? I'm not ready to call Shane Bowen Bill Belichick. I'm not ready to call, I don't know, Bobby Carriquet, or however you want to call Kayvon Thibodeau, whatever, Lawrence Taylor, So Phil Simms had some stuff on his side, that with Daniel Jones. I'm just saying, like nowadays, kind of like, just to go into the 6th season for Quentin in nowadays. All right, I said, really what you need to do is you go just next time you ever buy Daniel, just rub his head for some luck. Because I'll tell you what, for a guy to be like 6 and this going to his 6th season, and you're still kind of, I'm saying, kind of like, maybe he's a quarterback in a future for, he's not at the injuries. He's got some. Well, he had that good game. Maybe he's our. Well, no, he stares the receivers down. Yeah, probably he's a good runner. The RPO, but then he doesn't always look at all his receivers, and I don't know. Is he our quarterback? I'll tell you. For the guy to still be on the same team going into his 6th season, and we're still kind of like, is he going to be the quarterback? I don't know. Man's got some lives. Let me tell you what, he's got some lives. Usually it's like nowadays, it's like, you get drafted high, right? You get put in somewhere, whatever, whether you got to sit a year or 2 or something. And if you're not taking the team to the Super Bowl within a year or so, you're gone. Or you throw an incomplete pass, bench the guy. He's at it. Did you throw an incomplete pass? Yeah. You don't get much rope nowadays. Usually what it is they put the rope around your neck, okay? And you can run out to the huddle, just far enough out to the huddle. And that's when it starts getting some tension on it, right? And the coach has got his hand on the other end. Nooses around your neck, right? So if you drop back and you throw an incomplete pass, the coach just snaps your neck, and you're. Basically nowadays it's like, what have you done for me 5 seconds ago? Not lately, not today. No. What have you done for me 5 seconds? It's the instant gratification, right? Instant. Players don't get that long. It wasn't like whatever it was years ago. Coach would come in and start developing the teams and the players and all of that. Start bringing his own. Guys would have multiple years to start developing, and right nowadays it's like maybe you get 2 years. Some coaches get like 1 year. Yeah, what did you expect them to do? So, but anyway. Meanwhile, back at the Rams, the Giants brought in another quarterback. For them, when they had their their mini camps and all that stuff, Daniel Jones isn't going to be ready, right? I mean, he can throw the ball, but he's not going to be really ready to run around and all of that. So the Giants were definitely, without question, we're going to have to bring in another quarterback, because Drew Lock and Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, it was only two. You're going to need at least a third quarterback, right? So they brought in some guy, all right. Obviously, I follow college football. I don't have time or whatever to watch all 397 different teams, but from Wabash, I mean, I've heard of it. I can't say I've ever watched a Wabash football game, but from Liam Thompson from Wabash. Right, they see he's brought in. Let's get the chance to see what he does. I mean, he's got some nice numbers, but once again, it's Wabash. All right. Liam Thompson is moving from the little Giants to the big Giants. Right. So I mean, it's interesting that the nickname of Wabash is the Little Giants. Right. Several reports indicated former Wabash quarterback will take part in the New York Giants minicamp next month. Thompson started at Wabash for 4 seasons, completing 65% of his passes, 11,149 yards, 102 touchdowns. Both were second in program history. He also rushed for 1,747 yards and 31 touchdowns. So in his 4 years, my math is right, he's accounted for 133 touchdowns in 4 seasons. Pretty good. Now, the one thing is it's tough to, really, take those numbers and, compare them to a Drake May or, right, Jaden Daniels, right, guys like that, because it's tough. I mean, you look at his numbers and all, he did pretty good, but I mean, you also have to look at the two things. The one is the caliber of competition he was playing against. It was not quite, it wasn't the SEC, okay, but also the caliber of players that he was playing with. I mean, if you're going to Wabash and you're a wide receiver, chances are you're not going to be a top 5 pick, right? If you're an offensive lineman, right, blocking at Wabash, chances are you're not a top 10 pick. So, I mean, so the numbers are, you got to take them a little bit of a grain of salt. But, I mean, he put up some numbers. Does that mean he can't play it at the pro level? Absolutely not. Does that mean it might be a little difficult for him and all that stuff? Yeah, I would have to say so. It might be a little bit of a stretch for him to, come in and, take off and do fantastic things. Yeah, it might be a little, there's a good chance he won't be able to make it. And yeah, it's a good chance. Yeah, sure. But once again, does that mean he can't? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Bring the dude in. Let's see what you got, brother. Let's see what you got. Okay. Man, hey, if you're coming on the Giants, I'm your biggest fan. I'm wishing you nothing but the best. I mean, everybody loves that Victor Cruz story, right? Right. I mean, it was the game against the Jets. I think he caught 3 touchdown passes, and Rex Ryan's on the sideline. And after the game was over with, he said something to Tom Coughlin. I don't know who that was. Was he number 3? He's like, I don't know who that number 3 is, but he's pretty good. He also said to his defensive coordinator something like Rex Ryan was saying, I don't know, but I think we might want to start covering him because he took off. Well, I'll tell you what, man. So, I mean, are there the Victor Cruz stories out there, undrafted free agents that come in basically out of nowhere and take the world by storm? Yep, absolutely. So, hey, all right, Liam, come on in, brother. Let's see what you got, pal. Liam Thompson is the glue to the Wabash offense. He's a tough grader on himself and knows senior year he wants to win every game and be productive. Nobody puts more pressure on himself than Liam. It's either Liam or Liam. But Wabash coach Don Morrell said heading into the 2023 season, the 6'1", 197-pounder played at North Central High School, setting the Panthers' career passing record. So, I mean, if he's only, 6'1", that's, that's tough. That doesn't obviously mean, he can't, but you usually would like your quarterback to be at least a little bit taller than 6'1". But let's see here. In high school, he earned varsity letters in football, 3 varsity letters in football for North Central High School. Named to the All-Metropolitan and Interscholastic Conference All-State and All-County teams. He was a team captain, set all-time passing yards record at North Central. Won a sectional championship for the Panthers. 2019, it looks like he maybe missed the 2020, maybe the COVID season, possibly. Because I got some stuff here from 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2023. 2019, he earned second-team All-North Coast Athletic Conference honors and started in all 11 games for Wabash as a freshman. That's not bad. Pretty impressive. He threw for 2,177 yards and 15 touchdowns while completing 162 of 269 passes. He ran for 263 yards and 5 touchdowns. Right. 2021, he was named North Coast Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year. Not bad. Earned first team All North Coast Athletic Conference and D3 Football.com second team All Region 4 honors. Threw for 2,956 yards and 28 touchdowns. He completed 202 completions out of 341 passing attempts. He ran for 412 yards and 9 touchdowns. Led the conference in passing yards per completion at 14.71. Very impressive. Let's see. He ranked 5th in the nation in total offense with an average of 336.9 yards per game. Finished 18th in the nation in passing yards per completion. So, yeah, that was in 2021. 2022, earned North Coast Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year honors for the second consecutive season. It was a first-team All-NCAC selection, named to the D3 Football.com All-Region 4 second team, earned College Sports Communications Academic All-America first team honors, led all of NCAA Division III in passing yards per game with an average of 358.8 yards in 10 games. Threw for 3,588 yards to lead the conference and ranked 3rd in the nation and set the Wabash and NCAC single-season passing records. Finished the season with 34 passing touchdowns to lead the conference and ranked 7th among Division III quarterbacks. The 34 passing touchdowns tied for 2nd in Wabash history and tied for 3rd in the conference history. He ran for 7 TDs. 2023, he was named to the Manning Award watch list, named to the 2024 East-West Shrine Bowl. He was a Campbell Trophy finalist and a member of the 2023 National Football Foundation National Scholar Athlete class. He was a Gagliardi Trophy nominee, named to the Indianapolis Star 2023 All-Indiana College Football Team. Let's see. So we have his stats here. They got his stats. Well, it's in 2023. He was 186. He completed 186 of 269 passes. He had 7 interceptions. He had 25 touchdowns, 2,428 yards. Rushing, he ran for 724 yards and 10 touchdowns. So, I mean, you look here, 269, it was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in 10 games. He basically threw 27 passes a game. Right. So in 10 games, he had 7 interceptions. Yeah. So, but you also look at his opponents. In 2023, he played, was Worcester, DePaul, Hiram, Hiram, Wittenberg, Yes, I mean, we're not talking, we're not talking Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, Auburn, here, Notre Dame, Michigan, you know what I mean? But yeah, he did the best he could. So once again, we'll bring him in. Let's see. Without a quarterback, there is no ability to throw the ball or hand it off in practice. And so with a rookie camp coming soon, without a quarterback, obviously, there is no ability to throw the ball or hand it off in practice. And so with the rookie camp coming soon for the Giants, they know they had to bring in someone to fill that role. You need to bring in a quarterback to operate some 7-on-7 and things you want to do. Coach Brian Daboll said, we'll bring someone in, whether it's tryout or whatever it may be, and we'll go from there. Let's see here. It looks as if one of the quarterbacks the Giants will bring in for a tryout is Liam Thompson, a star at Division III Wabash, aptly named the Little Giants. How cool is that? Thompson holds the North Coast Athletic Conference record for career yards on offense, and he will get to show his stuff on May 10th when the Giants open up the rookie camp. So today is the 29th, soon to be the 30th. So, about a week and a half, right? So we got toward the end of next week. He will be, I guess it'll be, is that next Friday? Yeah, next Friday. The 10th will be next Friday. So he'll be here. The little giant will be playing for the big giant. Now, it's interesting here. It says, depending on whether the Giants bring in another quarterback, Thompson could become the first player to ever throw a pass through the first-round pick, Malik Nabers, in an NFL setting. How crazy is that, right? The Giants ended the draft with 81 players on the roster that will be free-flowing for quite some time. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. Oh, yeah. Free-flowing is not the word. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's you got guys coming and going. It doesn't matter. It's any roster. You need score. You need a scorecard to keep especially when you got 90 players. And the thing is, especially the way it is now, when you have 90 players and it's not like the way it used to be, right? After you got maybe a preseason game, you go down from 90 to 80, and you go from another preseason game, you go from 80 down to whatever it was, 70, and then after the third final, they get the final cut from 70 down to 50 now. None of that. It goes from 90 down to 53. At the end. So I mean, you got 90 guys in the roster. You got guys coming and going all the time. If somebody gets a little banged up or something, they're gone. You bring somebody else in. So that's always the guys have on the roster. That's always going to be guys be cut and coming and going. So, but the Giants, you knew pretty much we're going to have to bring somebody, right? So especially Daniel Jones ain't going to be ready or anything like that. So bring this guy in, see what they got. Right. All right. So next, and with PFF, there's really not a lot on them because being from Wabash, they just don't seem to have that. I was trying to look to see his grades and all that stuff and everything, and there really wasn't much of anything on him. So we'll have to just keep an eye on him. Right. And see how he does. I said, I wish him absolutely nothing but the best. Nothing but the best. All right. Next, I want to go over this depth chart here. Right. Now, after we got the draft, right? So, of course, then they got, obviously, wide receivers. Now, here, they have, once again, this is bigblueview.com. Now, this is not official, not even close to being official. It's the Big Blue View, what they're thinking, because here they got Malik Nabers, Darius Slayton, and Wan'Dale Robinson are the top three. They got Hyatt behind Nabers. They got Isaiah Hodgins behind Slayton. They got Isaiah McKenzie behind Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, interestingly here, because if Slayton's holding out, be interesting to see whether Slayton comes back or not. It'll be interesting to see because they drafted Hyatt. drafted Neighbors, and they drafted Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm sure they're going to want those three guys on the field. Maybe not all the time, but quite a bit. So once again, something we're going to have to keep an eye on. The Slayton situation, right? Is he going to hold out for a while, hold out for a little bit? We'll have to wait and see. If the Giants don't give him a contract extension, maybe boost his salary a little bit like that, might he become trade bait? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Now, I said I can't, you can't really blame him for wanting some extra do-re-mi. Can't blame him. But then again, you can't really blame the Giants if they don't, he signed, he's paid up, this season, right? He's a Giant. After this season, he's an undrafted free agent. He's a unrestricted free agent. Unrestricted free agent. And he's free to go wherever he wants. Now, I said I'd have a hard time seeing the Giants trying to bring him back. But we'll have to wait and see. But I said in this here the Big Blue view once again. They got Neighbors, Slayton, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Then of course, they got tackle Evan Neal at right tackle. They got Illuminor is his backup. But then they have Illuminor as the starting right guard. And then they have Aaron Stinney is his backup. John Michael Schmidt, as of course, is the center. And Austin, it's either Schlotman. I've also heard it called Schlutman. It was a Danish pronunciation. Austin Schlutman is the backup center. Then you got John Runyon Jr. is the left guard, who's next to Andrew Thomas, who's the left tackle. Aaron Stinney is the backup left guard. And Illuminor. I'll tell you what, they got Illuminor as the backup right tackle. They also have him listed as the starting right guard, and he's also the backup left tackle. So Illuminor is pretty valuable, right? And we only got him, I think it's 2 years, $14 million. So we signed him for $7 million a year. So then of course we got some running backs, right? We got Singletary, and we got Brightwell, Eric Gray, Tracy, who we just drafted, who can be, he's got a lot of tread left on his tires, boy. He played like 312 years in college. I mean, he played a lot of years in college, but he did not get the ball that much. So he has a lot of tread left on his tires. So let's hope Tracy could be a nice little weapon for us. He could be somebody, we might have for hopefully for the foreseeable future. Let's hope anyway. I say because when the regime, meaning Shane, they draft somebody, you like to have them, see if we can develop these guys, keep them around. They drafted Eric Gray. Let's say, right? Let's give him a chance this season, see what he can do. Obviously, we won't have him returning punts. Let's see what Tracy can do. Don't forget we got Gary Brightwell as well, too. Don't forget about him. And you got Corbin and Deion Jackson, too. So we got a lot of running backs. Tight ends. Boy, we got a lot of tight ends, too. Holy cow, Batman. And you got Waller and Bellinger. And we got Theo Johnson, who we just drafted. Then we got Stahl and Manhurts, the blocking tight ends, right? You got Lawrence Cager and Tyree Jackson. So is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We got 7 tight ends. Whew, it's a lot. What we are going to need would be a receiving tight end after Waller is gone. Now, I don't know if Waller's coming back. He's getting divorced. Who knows? We don't know what's going on with Waller. If he does come back, I'll tell you that's going to there'll be a nice little shot in the arm for our offense because we'll have Waller, who will be a mismatch out there. However many games he's going to play, however many games he's going to miss with his hamstrings, that we don't know. You do know, you can almost guarantee he will miss some time with his hamstrings if he does play this year. But regardless, when he's on the field, he'll be a mismatch. And then you got the other mismatches, right? You got Wan'Dale Robinson, right? You got Hyatt, right? The Rocket Man. Slayton does play. He's fast too. And of course, then we got Malik Neighbors. So we're going to be, we're going to have some weapons out there, especially if Waller does come back. When Waller does either not come back or quite possibly after this season, he may not play ever again for the Giants. We'll have to wait and see. Giants really could use a receiving tight end, but that's probably not going to happen this season. Maybe next season we can either in free agency or in the draft get ourselves a receiving tight end. And then, of course, quarterbacks. We got Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan. We also got Jacob Eason and Liam Thompson. All right, then we got, let's see, on defense. Then we got, this was the one thing I was a little bummed out that we didn't really address in the draft. I would like to see them address this in the second round. The thing was, the good and the bad, right, is that, we could have addressed it quite possibly we were pick 39, I think it was, that we traded away for Brian Burns. Now, the thing was that we had our second round pick, our first second round pick, but with that one, we got Brian Burns. Now, to me, because what Brian Burns can, it obviously cost you some money, no question there. But what Brian Burns can do in the pros. What Brian Burns can do on a crappy team, because that's what the Panthers were, okay? What Brian Burns can do. It's not like you got some of these guys coming in and, he should do pretty good in the no, what Burns can do, right? So according to me, and we got it with pick number 39, our second round pick. We got the best edge rusher in this class there, right? Our second round pick 39. So we did add to the defensive line in a roundabout way, right? We traded away a pick, 39, and we got ourselves a bookend, Kayvon and Burns. Pick your poison, guys. Which way you want to slide the protection, right? Who you want to double team. You can't double team Dexter Lawrence. You can't maybe double team, Kayvon. You can't double team this, and you just can't double team everybody, right? You got to pick your poison. So to me, we got the best edge rusher in this class, right? We also got the best, to me, I think we might have got the best safety in this class, and many people think we might have gotten the best wide receiver in this class. But with the defensive line, it was a little disappointing, that we didn't really address this. Obviously, the Giants didn't address the offensive line, which I didn't expect them really to. If they were going to, it would have been a much later round pick. Maybe a developmental guy, but they didn't obviously address the offensive line. They didn't address the defensive line at all. I mean, either an edge rusher or defensive lineman. We did, and I said in a roundabout way with our first, second round pick, we traded it for Burns. So, but I mean, the defensive line, the tackle, the interior, right? Interior defensive line, we didn't address that at all. That was the one thing I was a little bummed out about. The one thing is that going into the second round, and I think I talked about this, it wasn't last night, it was Saturday night, right? It was like, going into the second round, looking at I was like, oh, wow, there's quite a few defensive linemen there. And look, wow, we got quite a few corner backs there, too. All right, maybe we can, maybe we learn something here. Okay. So if we don't get the defensive tackle, we should get a cornerback. Or if we don't get the cornerback, we should get a defense. We should get one of those two, right? Nope. Because basically, as soon as the second round started, defensive tackle. There was like one or two wide receivers sprinkled in. Defensive tackle. Defense. You get a defensive tackle, and you get a defensive tackle, and you get 4 defense. So it was like by the time pick 40 rolled around, 312 defensive tackles came off the board. So it's like, I guess we won't be drafting a defensive tackle in the second round, but we can still get a cornerback. Cool. But I think once pick 40 rolled around, cornerback, you get a cornerback, and you get 4 cornerbacks, and you get a cornerback, and you get so by the time pick 47 rolled around, 313 cornerbacks came off the board. So it's like, I guess we won't be getting a cornerback in there. So, but we did wind up with a top-notch safety. So maybe is he going to be as good, or can he replace what McKinney did? I'll have to wait and see. right? But I mean, he's a decent safety, and he's a heck of a lot cheaper than what Xavier McKinney is making right now. So, yeah, and he seems like he seems really fired up and happy about being here, and just wanting to put on a Giants jersey and getting after it. Unlike Xavier McKinney, because once the season ended there, basically he took the jersey off, threw it off the side. Show me the money. So that's all I'm remembering about Xavier McKinney. You know, and in a way, I understand where he wants to get paid. I can understand that, but just the way he talks or went around it is just rather disgusting to me. So he's going, don't let the door hit you in the ass, right? So, but the safety we got, I'm very happy with that. But yeah, it's a shame we didn't add to. You know, we have a lot of depth on the defense. We don't have a solid person to put next to Sexy Dex. Now we got Nacho. I mean, he really didn't set the world on fire last year. Whether it was stopping the run, and you're not going to get much out of him in the pass, the pass rush, right? So we got Jordan Riley, we got DJ Davidson, we got Tommy Horn, we got Ryder Anderson. I mean, we got just depth. Guys who can step in and take some snaps for you without question. Now, as far as big time production, we'll have to wait and see. Now they are pretty high still on Jordan Riley. Big freaking guy, right? Let's see. I don't see here the other guy. I don't see Phillips here. So I don't know where the missing must be missing him. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I mean, said the Giants got, we didn't really. It would be nice next season if we can go out and get ourselves a stud defensive tackle to put next to Sexy Dexy, because let's not forget, this is going to be Sexy's sixth season. If we start, maybe in a few years we'll get a stud defensive tackle. Well, you start waiting too many years, Dexter, Sexy Dexy might start considering retirement. So if you want two studs defensive tackles, you're going to want to get him in there. Okay, so, and not only so much that, but I mean, Sexy's in his prime. Sixth season. He's going to start somewhere along the line. He's going to start declining a little bit. Right, so maybe next season we get ourselves a defensive lineman that can go up against with Sexy Dexy. Okay, because unfortunately, Sexy Dexy's not going to be with us forever. Right. You hope so, but that's not happening. Let's see here. So I said, so we on the defensive line, we got a lot of depth, but we only have one real straight up stud. Edge. Okay. So we got obviously Kayvon and Brian Burns, right? We got our bookends, right? We got Azeez Ojulari, right? Can he stay healthy? All this stuff and everything. Can we get much production out of him? We'll have to wait and see. Then we got Boogie Basham, Benton Whitley, Tillman Fox, Jeremiah Martin. Whether this will be Aziz's final season with the Giants or not, the Giants will need to add another edge rusher next season. Somebody who can, get, you want that NASCAR package. If somebody needs a breather, you want, okay, Kayvon goes out for a second or something, or a couple snaps. You want to bring somebody else in who can rush. You don't want to bring in. I don't mean nothing against any of these guys, but you don't want Brian Burns having to go out for a few plays to catch his breath, and bringing Tillman Fox in or something. There's a difference, so. Let's see that, and then the inside linebacker. Now here, I'll tell you what, we got ourselves some depth here. Now I'm not so quite sure that here they have also interior, the inside linebackers. They got Isaiah Ximines too there, right? I'm not exactly sure if that's where he's going to wind up being. Last season they used him to rush the quarterback, like maybe coming off the edge. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Very interesting to see where Bowen puts Ximines. Right? Somehow we got him for $2 million. So we got ourselves a steal there, right? Be interested to see where Bowen does just put Simmons. Very, very, very interested to see. But tell you what, I mean, if I don't know, I'm gonna have to wait and see. If he is an interior or inside linebacker, we got ourselves some depth there. I'm telling you what, right? Because you got Sewell, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Dude's a tackling machine, right? I'm not saying he's going to be a all-pro or nothing like that. I hope so, but he should be used on special teams quite a bit, right? But I mean, don't forget about Darren Beavers either. He was coming back last season from his injury, and he was probably a step behind or so, trying to come back from his torn ACL. So look for him this season, right? Big size, got the size. Guy flies around, right? Tries to make things happen. So I'm very anxious to see him. But I'll tell you what, man, interior linebackers, if you got McFadden, you got a Karake, I mean, Simmons, right? Then is it Darren Beavers and Sewell? Wow. We're good at inside linebacker. Oh, yeah, absolutely. No question. I said we are going to need another edge rusher. Then I said, now it's safety here. Just go to safety real fast, right? You got Pinnock, you got Newman, right? You got Javarius Owens, Belton, and then they also have Jalen Mills here listed too, right? So, is that going to be enough? I mean, obviously, I'm sure they'll probably bring in an undrafted free agent, probably another safety or so to bring in some depth, some competition or all. We'll have to wait and see. They got Newman here listed as the free safety, and they got Pinnock as the strong safety. I said, don't forget about Belton as well, too. Right? Don't forget about him. It seemed like anytime he was on the field last season, he was either recovering a fumble or picking off a pass or something, right? And then let's not forget, Gio was, I don't even know how much he was on the field at all last year, but they drafted him once again. He was a late round, 7th round pick. So obviously, and once again, I hope he turns out to be all that in a bag of chips. I hope Javarius Owens winds up being fantastic, but a lot of times you're in 7th round, give the guy a year or two. Maybe he turns into something, or if worse comes to worse, maybe he just winds up being some good depth, and he winds up getting used on special teams, right? Because let's not forget, with the new kickoff rule this year, we have a lot of returns, and you're going to need guys out there. Couple things is that with this new kickoff, one, you're going to need guys who can tackle, okay? But you're also going to need guys, too, who can either shed tackles or whatever. Because, you got to be careful. Because if you put smaller guys out there, right, like maybe, a cornerback or somebody like that who might, like if you put a Cordell Flott out there, okay, might be a good tackler, but he's light, thin build and all that. So if he's, looking straight across from somebody, right, who's going to try to block him, and the person looking straight across from him outweighs him by, just say, 30 pounds or so, right, and they run, right, and they kick off, and the dude starts running the ball back, and it's come time, and this guy who weighs, like, say, 200 pounds or 205 or 10 pounds, whatever, is going to start blocking. If he runs and he locks onto, like, a Flott or something like that, where's Flott going to go? Nowhere. Well, either that or he's going to go backwards. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see who they put out there on the kickoff coverage and the kickoff return. Because, like I said, you're going to need, obviously, people who are very good athletes, people who can tackle very well, but you also going to, that's. You want guys who can also learn how to shed blocks as well, too. I think it's a little easier to avoid a block if you're, starting on your own 35 or 30-yard line, whatever it is, and they kick off and you're running, so now you got a long head of steam, and somebody might be 30 yards or 20 yards away from you trying to run up and maybe block and maybe give you a chance to do some maneuvering or something like that. But here, I mean, it's like, if you're like 5 yards or so, whatever the rule is, 5-10 yards apart from each other, I mean, it ain't going to take you long before you're being engaged by somebody. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But I mean, if after this season, if the Giants want to add another good safety or so, I'm all for that. But it's interesting. Let's see what Pinnock and Belton, Gio can do and Nubin can do this season. I'm not saying we have a top 5 safety unit out there. Certainly not saying that. But let's see what we got. We got some young guys out there, though. Belton, Pinnock, Javarius Owens, his second season, right? Nubin is a rookie. So we got some young guys, though. And that's another thing. Nice. We do have a lot of young guys on this roster, which leads you to, the last thing would be the cornerback. That is one of the other things, too, I'm a little disappointed about. It's because I was kind of hoping maybe in the second round we could have gotten a cornerback, but we wound up with the safety. The thing is that the guy we drafted, in the third round as a cornerback, I mean, seems like he has more experience, or he might wind up getting played in the slot. It's kind of almost like the slot wide receiver debacle we had last season when we had like 315 slot receivers. Why do we have some? How many nickel or slot cornerbacks or whatever do you need on it? So now here they have cornerbacks. They got Nick McLeod, okay, and they got Dante Banks, right, as the starters. Trey Hawkins is the backup, the third. Trey Hawkins the third. Then we got Stanley Thomas Oliver, Caleb Hayes. So we don't have Andrew Phillips, Darnay Holmes, Cordell Flop. Those guys might quite possibly be more like a slot cornerbacks. And on this roster right here, this roster chart here from Big Blue View, they got Andrew Phillips as the third slot cornerback. So why on earth we would draft a cornerback who would be on the third team corner in the third round makes no sense at all to me. None whatsoever. And of course, let's not forget about Aaron Robinson too. Now, I don't know if he's ever going to play football ever again for the Giants or not. He had a horrible knee injury, right? And basically every time the guy tries to come back, he's coming up with another injury. After we drafted him, he had muscle core surgery. I mean, the guy's like hardly ever on the field. But when he was on the field, he was productive. But the snaps he had on the field were few and far between, and the guy just cannot stay healthy. So we still have Aaron Robinson, but don't know if he'll ever play another snap for the Giants or not. I haven't heard anything. I mean, it's not like with Daniel Jones. You get these stories, Daniel Jones in the building, or Shane's talking about, he's doing everything he can. No, he's throwing the ball. He's doing this. He might be ready. The anticipation, he'll be the quarterback week 1. And then people are talking to Daniel, oh, no, I plan on being back week 1. I mean, Aaron Robinson, there's crickets on. Crickets. I mean, it's like, is the guy even alive? What's going on? Absolutely nothing on him. So I have no idea on Aaron Robinson. I mean, if the guy can never stay healthy, he might turn into something. But, and I said that the thing is, he's coming back from a knee injury. And it was a bad one too. And even if he does come back, it could mean that he might need another year or so just to come back and be in tip-top shape. So don't know if he'll ever play another snap for the Giants. It's a shame because he was a good pick in the third round. Some guys, as Jimmy Johnson says, the former head coach of the Cowboys, unfortunately, said, hurt players get hurt. And that's all he ever did was get hurt. Shane Lemieux, Ellerson Smith, Aaron Robinson, some guys, all they do is get injured. Right? So, I mean, the depth, as I said, we still got some holes without question. I keep saying this over and over and over. We had so many holes this season, right? You were not going to fill them all, right? Let's see what we can do next season with free agency and next year's draft. See if we can fill in a few more of those holes, and we should be pretty close to having a decent roster, right? I'm very anxious to see what we do next season. All right, next we got Saquon Barkley. He sent a message to Mr. Theo. He may be playing for the enemy, but Saquon Barkley is still keeping one eye on the New York Giants, at least based on the Philadelphia Eagles running back's reaction to his old team to the Giants selecting good old Theo Johnson in the 4th round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Barkley, a pretty famous Penn State alum, I think so, texted and congratulated his fellow Nittany Lion graduate. That's according to Charlotte Carroll of The Athletic. Theo Johnson out of Penn State says Saquon Barkley texted him and congratulated him. Additionally, the New York Daily News' Pat Leonard revealed Johnson admitted it would have been nice to play together. Oh, I'm sure it would have. I'm sure, absolutely. Maybe down the road, but right now he's right where he's supposed to be. New Giants TN tight end Theo Johnson said he knew Brian Daboll's son, Christian, interesting, from their time together at Penn State. And he liked working with Shea Tierney at the Senior Bowl and in the pre-draft. Very cool. He said fellow Penn State product Saquon Barkley texted him congrats. And it said obviously it would have been fun and nice if they could have played together, but it is what it is. The Giants don't need Johnson thinking about his next spot, not when he represents excellent value at a position shrouded in uncertainty, while obviously Darren Waller is still contemplating retirement. So, I mean, the one thing I'm very, 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 very happy about, is that, each draft that goes by, the Shane regime is adding, right? We added a couple running backs in the 3 drafts, right? Added a couple running backs. I'll have to wait and see once again. I have to see what Eric Gray can bring to the table, but they drafted a couple running backs. They drafted 2 tight ends, right? Theo Johnson and Bellinger. We need a receiving tight end. They said maybe we can get that next season, right? I'm not so overly concerned about the running back spot because we got Singletary very cheaply. So if Singletary isn't back next season with the Giants, right, we can certainly go out there and get another decent running back on the cheap. So I'm not worried about that. But except with the Shane drafted a couple running backs. He's drafted a couple tight ends. So we got young running backs. We got we got Bellinger's going to his 3rd season. Theo Johnson will be a rookie. Young, right? They drafted every year. They drafted a wide receiver, right? They drafted Hyde. This will be Hyde's 2nd season. This will be Wando Robinson's 3rd season, right? It'll be Malik Neighbors' 1st season. Young tight ends, young wide receivers, young running backs, right? So we got young, right? Very, very, very impressed there. But that was nice of Saquon. But of course, he wasn't texting, the other guy. He wasn't texting Malik Neighbors. Congrats. No, it was because it was a Penn State alum. But it was nice. The other Penn State. I don't know if he texted the other Penn State alums that got drafted from the other teams. That I don't know. But he congratulated good old Theo because coming to the Giants. So all right, and then we got. It's an absolute shame. It just seems obviously that you don't know and all that stuff. It just kind of seems like maybe Korey Cunningham might have had some kind of demons going on. Might have been more like a self-inflicted kind of death here. It's just absolute shit. 28 years old. Absolute shame. I mean, I don't think he was in football at all last season. The former New York Giants lineman Korey Cunningham found dead at 28 in his Clifton, New Jersey house. Said they responded to Cunningham's home Thursday afternoon after a family member reported not hearing from him. Offensive lineman Korey Cunningham was found dead at his New Jersey home on Thursday. He was only 28 years old. Absolutely horrible. Yes, it is. Several former teammates shared tributes over the news of Cunningham's passing. Giants offensive lineman Justin Pugh wrote on Twitter, I was in Arizona when we drafted Korey Cunningham in 2018. He moved on to New York Giants and was living in New Jersey this past year. We would invite him to the offensive line dinner every week, even though he wasn't on the team, which doesn't happen ever. Team dinners are for players on the team only, but except for Korey, solely because he was beloved by all the guys, regardless if you knew him or not. He'd tell stories and we'd laugh our asses off all night, Pugh said. Today is a sad day, but I'll always remember the good times and the laughs, he added. Everyone who knew Korey Cunningham was better for it. The world lost a great soul. And then Jason Pinnock said, shared on Instagram, this one hurts, regardless of what you was going through. You wore the biggest smile. Yeah. You was the first person to come help me move when I was getting settled at the Giants, middle of camp, and you finding to be on the team a learn new playbook. Not exactly sure. And you friending to be on the team and learn new playbook. You was the first at my house ready. Take care of yourself and call your friends, people. I love you, brother, he added. I guess that's from Pinnock, I guess. But it's just a real shame. I just wanted to say that. Yeah, just say R.I.P., brother. It's a shame, I said, because, some people just, they have their own demons. And sometimes, what they were talking about, it was like with Robin Williams. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of the actors and all, they knew Robin Williams was hurting inside, a lot of them. But I mean, to a lot of us outside, you see Robin Williams, he's always making people laugh and cracking up and stuff like that. It's like, man, this guy's got to be the happiest kind of guy going on. No, he was doing all that stuff to kind of hide or try to suppress the demons and stuff. I mean, I guess the same thing with Korey Cunningham. They said he had these funny stories, as Justin Pugh was talking about, who make you just laugh. Pinnock said he had a big smile all the time on him and everything like that. So you're thinking, this guy, hey, he's happy-go-lucky guy, man. He's just happy to be alive. He's, that's not always the case. Sometimes that big smile or those telling those stories that hides, you're hiding, and unfortunately sometimes people have these demons inside them and they just gets the best of them. And it's an absolute shame for anybody. It doesn't have to be a football player, anybody out there. It's a real shame. But they also, you hear people say, if you got some problems, man, just pick the phone, call, raise your hand. Hey, anybody out there help me or something like that? Because it's a fantastic, wonderful human being like him. It doesn't matter if he's a football player or it doesn't matter. The world lost apparently a phenomenal guy. And it's an absolute shame. 28 years old. Absolutely freaking horrible. I mean, I think he was a 7th round pick here. Going to go to Wikipedia here. Let's see. Yeah, 2018, round 7, pick 254. I mean, he was almost Mr. Irrelevant. And he played with the Cardinals in 2018, Justin Pugh was talking about. And then he had 2 seasons with the Patriots and 2 seasons with the Giants. He played in 31 games. He started 6 of them. It said on March 17, 2022, the Giants re-signed Cunningham. On July 22nd, 2022, his contract was terminated with a non-football injury. On October 18th, 2022, the Giants signed Cunningham to their practice squad. On November 23rd, 2022, Cunningham was elevated from the practice squad for Week 12 game against the Dallas Cowboys. He signed a reserve future contract on January 22nd, 2023. He was released on August 27, 2023. Then it said on April 25th, 2024, emergency responders found Cunningham dead at the age of 28 in his Clifton, New Jersey home shortly before 3:30 p.m. after he was reported unconscious. Yeah, just an absolute shame. Absolute shame. Such a shame. Yeah, absolutely horrible. Really, I feel bad. My prayers and thoughts and prayers go out to his friends and family and all that and everything. All right, I've been talking so freaking much here. There's another thing here. I want to go over this real fast. Now, everybody and their grandma, right, has got the grade in the draft and all of that and everything. But I just saw this one here. This was from College Football News. Now they got 2024 NFL Draft team rankings, the top 5, including Buffalo, Green Bay, and the Giants. Basically, I also did this too because it doesn't include the Beagles in there. So, and everybody and their grandmom thinks the Beagles had a great draft. I don't, but so according to this here, they got CFN College Football News. They got the Packers were number 5, the Rams were number 4. Actually, basically, it was because the Rams had a bunch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They had 10 picks. But this was also the first year since 2016 the Rams actually had a first-round pick. That is so hard to fathom. They went that long without a first-round pick. But the Giants, they came in number 3. Who was it? Cardinals were number 2. Because the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Cardinals had 12 picks. And then the Buffalo Bills were number 1. Bills didn't even have a first-round pick. But they had 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, 3 fifths, and 2 sixths, and a 7th. So they had a lot of picks. But they didn't even have a first-round pick. Well, they traded out of the first round. They traded with the Chiefs. But according to these guys, they think Buffalo had a very good draft. But they had the Giants ranked number 3rd. Cool. He said, what went right? Good idea picks at all 6 slots. Darius Slayton might be a 6th rounder, but good luck cutting him in camp. Oh, absolutely not. Oh, yeah, no, he'll be, I'm sure he'll be there to stay. Absolutely. Tyler Nubin, right? The safety, right? I think we've got ourselves a start in safety. Theo Johnson should stick. Absolutely. I believe so. Absolutely. And then we got obviously Malik Neighbors, right? Who some people think was the best wide receiver in this draft. And as I said, let's not forget, we used our first, 2nd round pick on Brian Burns. So to me, we got the best edge rusher in this class too, because we know what Brian Burns can do. All these other guys, the top guys should do good, but we don't know, right? I think we got the best edge rusher as well, too. What went wrong? Well, they were kind of complaining here that the Giants drafted Neighbors, but they could have used a quarterback. Well, I said, you don't know where they had McCarthy graded at. Just because they brought the guy in doesn't mean, he's they want him. That doesn't always mean that. Sometimes they bring a guy in because they get some questions about him, and they bring the guy in. So when he leaves at the end of the night, they're crossing him off. They're like, yep, nope, not drafting him in the first round. Sometimes they bring people in to talk to him so they can cross him off their list because they got some questions on him. So they don't know. They don't know. Would you want him to draft Penix, who was supposed to be like maybe a late 1st round pick with number 6 overall? Could you imagine? People were saying, people were going like, when we drafted Daniel Jones at number 6, oh my God, you could have had him at 17. What are you, stupid? Oh my God. Well, what would everybody be saying if we drafted Penix? Right? And number 6. What are you doing? He's possibly a 2nd round pick, late 1st. What are you doing? Pick 6. What are you, stupid? Now you don't draft Penix at number 6 or McCarthy. You're stupid. But if you overdraft somebody, you're stupid. It's like a no-win situation. No-win situation, right? Let's see here. The best value pick they think was Newman. Interesting. In the second round, possibly the best safety in the second round. So, hey, man, tell you what, the man was thrilled. He was on it. He was touched. He was moved, and he was. I think he told the coach. I think he was telling Dable. I think it was Dable. Because Shane was talking to him, and then he passed the phone to Dable, and Newman was like, "I'm the best. I'm the best pick you just made in this draft, or something like that, somewhere along those lines." He's got some backing up to do, and it really seems like he's all fired up and ready to come in and rock and roll. So I think that's a solid pick. The one thing they did have they were kind of questioning was the biggest reach was obviously Phillips, the cornerback in the third round. I was, that one, I'm kind of, especially if you look, I mean, at the depth chart, they got him in the slot or the nickel corner, however you want to call it, right? And it's like, why are we picking somebody who, we got Flott, we got Holmes, we got Phillips, how many, why are we picking somebody in the third round who might be a backup? Why are we doing that? So that to me, that's the big one. Is Phillips in the third round? That's the reach for me. But I just saw this, and somebody said the Giants had the third best draft class. I'm like, well, all right, cool. And my throat is sore because every time I look online, the Eagles are the greatest draft class of all. I just start vomiting, projectile vomit. I throw up all over. It just makes me sick to my stomach. I can't. Eagles blow. Their draft class blow. Howie Roseman blows. The organization blows. Everything about they blow. I'm so sick and tired about it. The guy made 312 trades back and forth, and everybody thinks he had the greatest draft class of all. Get the out of here, dude. Just because you made 350, I mean, it was like all these trades. It's like, all right, dude. Okay, great. Cool. All right, and finally, there's 14 free agents. I saw this here real fast. Giants wire. 14 free agents the Giants could sign following the draft. Now, there's not much of a write-up on these guys here, but one they got, now this would be interesting. The thing here, interesting, right? But would be a little expensive. They're talking about Ryan Tannehill. Interesting. I don't know about that. I don't know about if they'd be bringing Ryan Tannehill in. They could sign him, but I can't see him bringing Ryan Tannehill in. Then they talk about David Bakhtiari. If he's healthy, all this stuff and everything, Bakhtiari certainly could help the offensive line without question. He might be a little expensive though too. But the one thing is with the offensive line, let's see what we got. Let's see what Carmen Basillo can do to this group of guys. We have no idea where Evan Neal's going to be. Evan Neal can either be, I don't think he'll be on the bench because he stinks. I don't think. I think Basillo will find his groove. Now, whether that's going to be a tackle or a guard, so he'll be in one of three places, right? He'll be either a tackle, he'll be a guard, or he'll be on the sideline in crutches because he's injured. Those are three places he'll be. But I think if he can stay healthy, Basillo will have him someplace. That does not guarantee he's going to be a tackle, right? Let's see what these guys can do. I mean, we got McKeithen coming back, got a Zudu. We brought 5 free agents in for the offensive line. We got a lot of offensive linemen. And we have some undrafted free agents that we're bringing in as well, too. I can't remember the guy's name, from Missouri. There's a tackle. So we got a lot of guys. Let's see what the offensive line can do instead of bringing in even more. let's see what Priscilla can do. He did some pretty good things last season with a lot less. Let's not forget, right? We got Evan Neal and we got Andrew Thomas as tackles, first-round picks, right? Michael Schmitz, second-round pick. And you take Joshua Zudo in the third round. You have visions of this guy being a starter. You don't draft a guard in the third round. Oh, there'll be some good quality depth for us. Yeah, no, I don't think he'll start, but no. You draft a guard in the third round. You really think somewhere along the line this guy should be a starter for you. So they've invested, quite a bit of capital, right? As far as draft picks in the offensive line. Let's see what Carmen Basile can do. And I said, I think last season with the Raiders, I think he had a first rounder on the starting five, a third rounder, a fifth rounder, and I think 2 undrafted free agents. I could be off a little bit on that, but he did not have a lot of high draft capital, and they were a pretty functional unit, unlike the debacle that the Giants had with Bobby Johnson. Whew, man, I'm glad that guy's gone. Holy crap. So if they I'd have a hard time seeing them bringing an offensive line. And also the next one they got is Pete, offensive lineman. Perhaps more than a tackle, the Giants could use another guard. Andres Pete, another guard. They just brought in like 300 guards. Dalton Risner. I was kind of, I kind of thought maybe they would just bring him in and just sign him, but once again, we'll have to wait and see. They're talking about, he's a free agent now. Calais Campbell. Now I'll tell you what, the guy is going to be what. He's nearing 38, but he still had 6.5 sacks for the Falcons last year. This guy's a freaking freak of nature. I mean, he's almost 40 years old, and he's still putting up more sacks than guys half his age. What an absolute unbelievable, just an unbelievable athlete this guy has been all these years. I'll tell you what, man. You put him in, he's a big dude, too. Big dude. If we can bring him in, boy, I'll tell you what. And obviously at his age, you're not going to put him in there for 100 snaps. But I'll tell you what, man, you put him in there next to Sexy Dexy, you got yourself a little something there. The thing is that he would be like a torch holder. You're not signing Calais Campbell to a 5-year deal. You're bringing him in. But I'll tell you what, he had 6.5 sacks last year at his age. That's pretty impressive. Right, so I wouldn't be and I'm sure he wouldn't cost you a boatload of money either. I would not be upset if they brought Calais Campbell in there. Not at all. All right, who else they got here? Brian Moan. I'm going to say Mone, a nose tackle. The Giants want to add a true nose tackle to the roster. Brian Moan. Could be an under-the-radar option. He missed last season due to a torn ACL, but he's still just 28 years old and would be a low-risk, high-reward type of signing. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. Low risk, get him in for on the cheap. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. Adding some depth in the defensive line. Xavier Howard, the cornerback. We got what are they thinking, right? What are they thinking? Which kind of, if you look at my thumbnail for this video, might be something they are thinking. So give me a minute here. But what are they thinking as far as their cornerback number 2? And I don't think it's going to be Phillips, who they just drafted. But Howard has informed teams he's fully cleared to play. He had a foot injury and would be willing to take a reduced salary to play for a contender. Does that mean the Giants are a contender? Well, the Giants aren't that. Perhaps they could entice him some other way. Adding a 4-time Pro Bowler at a position of need would be a plus. Absolutely. How about this guy, Stephon Gilmore? Stephon Gilmore is another option for the Giants, although he seems destined to return to the Panthers. However, if those talks fall through, Shane might be willing to put in a call at least. All right, then we got Justin Simmons, safety. Zach Cunningham, linebacker. I I don't know about that. We just drafted an inside linebacker. We don't need another one. Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver. Boston Scott, the running back. If you can't beat him, buy him, right? This way he won't be on a team when he scores 15 touchdowns a game against the Giants. Bud Dupree, edge rusher. Can't have too many edge rushers, right? Now he's getting up there in age. If the Giants want to add another edge rusher, and they should, Bud Dupree is a familiar face to a defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, right? And then the last one I want to bring up is, once again, don't forget it. He's still out there. He's still out there. Adoree Jackson. Giants seem done with Adoree Jackson, but the free agent pool is a bit thin. If they don't want to overspend, perhaps they can circle back to a familiar face at a lesser cost. Now, I don't know what he wants, what he's thinking. It's always, the player thinks they're worth it. The player and their agent think they're off the screen, and the football, the GMs and all think that they're this way. So they got to somewhere come and meet in the middle. So I don't know what, Dory thinks is he 12 to 15 a year, and Shane wants to pay him 5 or 6 a year, and they got to meet in the middle at 8 a year. Who knows? But don't forget, he's out there, and stuff like this happens a lot, especially when you got these guys, who are obviously free agents. I'm not saying Shane's going to pick the phone up and talk to Adoree. He's probably maybe picking the phone up and talking to his agent. Look, we need a cornerback. Let's see what we do in the draft here. If we kind of strike out or this or that, if we're still a little thin at the cornerback position, right? Maybe maybe we'll call you up and maybe we can talk some turkey, right? Because let's also not forget, Shane Bowen came from Tennessee, right? Adoree Jackson came from Tennessee, right? And Shane Bowen's with the Giants. Adoree Jackson played for the Giants. So, right? Now we're not paying Adoree what we were paying him on his first contract with the Giants, that's for sure. But hey, maybe we don't have a lot of salary cap space, right? Especially, I guess now we have to bring the draft class in. So basically, when I was looking from like Spot Track and Over the Cap and all of that, when we bring the draft class in, sign those guys, pretty much a lot of the salary cap space is going to be pretty much gone. So we're not going to have a lot of money, if any money at all. However, we still do have the options. Okay, Andrew Thomas, right? Can we maybe re-sign redo his contract? Bobby Okereke, we can kind of do something with his contract. I don't think they want to touch Daniel Jones's contract with a 10-foot pole, because they have to let him go after the season's over. If Darren Waller were to retire, they'll save some money there, right? So there are ways the Giants can come up with some money, all right? And cornerback number 2 would be a huge position of need, without question. I think to me right now, it might be the biggest glaring hole the Giants have is cornerback number 2. But I mean, if they get a cornerback, so maybe a defensive tackle next to Sexy Dexy, we'll have to wait and see. But Adoree Jackson is out there, so don't forget about him, right? All right, guys, been 1 hour and almost 23 minutes. Holy cow, Batman. Wow. Well, whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you so much. Thank you. It means the world to me. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, just once again, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.